Welcome to another deep dive. We love getting source suggestions from our listeners, and this time we got a great one from Curt Robbins, a senior technical writer.
No, yeah, Curt knows what's up.
He really does.
Yeah.
So Curt, we see you. This deep dive is all about AI and its impact on critical thinking.
Something we're all dealing with every day, I think.
Absolutely. Especially those of us in tech, writers, documentation experts, IT professionals.
Yeah.
We're all using AI now in some way. So the big question is, does AI make us sharper thinkers?
Or are we kind of like losing some of that mental edge? I mean, it's a valid question to ask.
Yeah, and it's something I've been thinking about a lot lately. As we rely more and more on these amazing AI tools, are we becoming too reliant?
Right.
Like, are we letting the machines do the thinking for us?
Yeah, that's the core of it.
Yeah, and that thankfully we've got some research to help us unpack this a bit. There's a fascinating study titled, and this is a mouthful, AI Tools in Society: Impacts on Cognitive Offloading and the Future of Critical Thinking by Michael Gerlich, published in the Journal Societies in 2025.
Okay, so pretty recent research then.
Yeah.
Very relevant.
Really, really relevant.
Yeah.
And they did their research in the UK, 666 participants, which that number always kind of throws me off.
A little ominous, but yeah.
But a really good mix of ages 17 to 25, 26 to 45, and then 46 and up. So a good spread there to look at those different generations and how they're engaging with AI.
Yeah, and they used a mix of surveys and in-depth interviews.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which I always appreciate because, you get that quantitative data, but then you can go deeper.
You get the stories, yeah.
You get the stories right and understand how people are actually experiencing this.
Right.
So what they find? Well, one of the major findings was this negative correlation between AI use and critical thinking scores.
Interesting. So the more people were using AI, the lower they scores
On
those
the
critical thinking assessments. Wow. Okay, so that kind of confirms that initial fear.
Right.
Michael, if we're not exercising those muscles, they might begin weaker.
Right. And what was really interesting was that this was especially pronounced, this correlation, in younger folks.
Really? So the 17 to 25-year-olds,
They were
using it more and scoring lower?
Yeah, they were using AI more. But those critical thinking scores,
That is fascinating.
it was lower compared to the older generations. And it makes you wonder if maybe there's something about how our brains develop, like if you're growing up with Google giving you answers in a split second, do you even need to develop those deep thinking skills in the same way?
Yeah. It's almost like
Right.
our brains need to practice thinking deeply, not just getting quick answers from an AI.
Yeah, it's like anything else. If you don't use it, you lose it.
I lose it, yeah. Okay, so that's the quantitative side.
Mhm.
But those in-depth interviews,
Right.
I'm really curious to hear, what were people saying? What were some of the insights that came out of those?
So it wasn't like this doom and gloom, like AI is ruining our brains.
Right.
It was a lot more nuanced than that. What they found was that people were talking about this experience of what we call cognitive offloading, which is essentially relying on external tools like AI to do the thinking for you. And some of those themes that emerged were things like, feeling overly dependent on AI, feeling like they weren't engaging their brains as much, even some ethical concerns
That's interesting.
with the influence of AI.
So it's like, yeah, AI is amazing and incredibly useful,
Right.
but maybe we're not really thinking deeply about the implications
The implications.
of using it all the time.
Exactly. And the interviews really brought that home, right? Like you see the numbers in the quantitative research,
Yeah.
but then you hear these personal stories and it really makes it real.
Makes it real, yeah.
And there was one quote that really stuck with me. One participant said, "I feel like I'm losing my problem-solving skills because AI makes everything too easy."
Wow. That's powerful.
Right. It's like we forget to use those muscles.
Yeah.
And then they atrophy.
Exactly. It's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if you don't have to struggle with a problem,
Right.
if you don't have to really think deeply about something,
Yeah.
then those skills might not develop as strongly.
So this is all starting to feel a bit unsettling, to be honest. Like, what does this mean for us, for people like Curt,
Sure.
who are in the thick of this? Like, we can't just abandon AI. It's way too useful.
Yeah.
But we also don't want to become mindless robots.
Right. And that's what makes this conversation so important, I think. It's not about being anti-AI.
Right.
It's about being, pro-critical thinking,
Yes.
pro-using AI in a way that actually enhances our thinking, not replaces it.
I love that.
Right. We need to be in the driver's seat. We need to be the ones making the decisions.
Okay, I like where this is going. So how do we do that? How do we find that balance?
Right.
How do we get the benefits of AI without losing our ability to think for ourselves? That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
And it's a question that doesn't have a simple answer.
Right.
But I think one way to think about it is
Yeah.
like, using your phone's calculator instead of doing the math in your head.
Okay. Okay.
It's convenient, it's quick, but over time, you might lose some of that mental agility.
You might. Yeah.
The same principle applies to AI, right? If we rely on it too much for complex tasks,
Yeah.
then we're not really exercising those critical thinking muscles.
That's such a good analogy.
Yeah, it's about finding that sweet spot.
Okay. So are we doomed to become less intelligent as AI gets smarter?
Mm-hmm.
Or is there hope for us humans?
Oh, I'm an optimist. I definitely think there's hope.
Okay, good, good.
But it requires us to be intentional. It requires us to be mindful.
Mindful, yeah.
Think of it as a partnership, right?
Okay.
You let AI handle the repetitive tasks, the data crunching.
Right.
But then you step in with your human judgment, your creativity,
Yeah.
your ability to see the bigger picture.
So instead of asking AI to write an entire document for me,
Right.
maybe I use it to brainstorm different structures.
Exactly.
Or to analyze my audience's reading level.
Or maybe you use it to, generate different content ideas.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
then you curate those ideas, right?
Yeah.
You decide which ones are worth pursuing, which ones need tweaking, which ones are just
Junk.
junk,
Yeah.
right? Because the AI might not understand
Right.
the nuances of your audience
Right.
or the specific goals of your project.
Right.
So you bring that human expertise to the table.
Yeah, because AI can't understand nuance or context in the same way that we can.
Right.
It can't really grasp the subtle emotional impact of a particular phrase
Yeah,
or like the cultural sensitivities that we need to consider.
absolutely. And that's what makes it so valuable.
Right.
We bring critical thinking, we bring empathy, we bring ethical awareness to the table. Those are skills that will always be in demand, especially as AI gets more and more sophisticated.
This makes me think about those different age groups in this study.
Right.
The younger folks
Yeah.
who've grown up with AI.
Right.
Maybe they haven't had those same opportunities to develop those critical thinking skills.
That's a valid concern, right?
Yeah.
Because if you've never really had to struggle with a problem
Right.
or research something manually,
Yeah.
you might not develop those deep thinking skills as readily.
Right.
And it highlights the need for us to be really intentional about how we're integrating AI into education and training.
And not just in education.
Oh, absolutely.
Even for those of us who are already in the workforce.
Right,
We need to be mindful of how AI might be influencing our thinking.
right.
The study also talked about AI's impact on teams.
Yeah.
Which is something we haven't really touched on yet.
Yeah, that's a really important point because we often focus on the individual impacts of AI,
Right.
but it's also changing how we work together, how teams collaborate, how they make decisions, how they solve problems.
Yeah. And as technical writers, documentation experts, IT professionals,
Right.
we're almost always working in teams. So what's the potential downside here?
Imagine a team where everyone is heavily reliant on AI.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Are they still challenging each other's ideas? Are they having those robust debates that lead to
Those are so important.
creative solutions, or are they just deferring to the algorithm?
Right, because AI can create this illusion of consensus,
It can.
even if there are underlying disagreements.
Right.
Or alternative perspectives that just aren't being voiced.
Mm.
Like, oh, okay, the robot overlord has spoken.
Exactly. And that's dangerous, right?
Yeah.
That can stifle innovation.
Yeah.
It can lead to groupthink, where teams become less effective at critically evaluating options,
Yeah.
identifying potential risks.
This is making me think about how we design meetings, how we structure projects, even how we choose team members.
Right.
If we're not careful, we could end up with teams that are great at following AI's instructions, but not so great at thinking for themselves.
Which is why it's so important
Yeah.
to build in those opportunities for critical thinking, for respectful disagreement, for human-to-human interaction.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
And it seems like the main takeaway is that
Yeah.
AI isn't going anywhere,
It's here to stay.
right? So the question is, how do we adapt? How do we make sure that we're using it
Right.
in a way that makes us smarter, not lazier?
That's a great way to frame it.
Yeah.
And it's a question
Yeah,
we all need to be asking ourselves
individually.
individually and as teams.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. It really is like we're at this crossroads. AI is so powerful, it can help us in so many ways, but we really do need to be mindful of the potential pitfalls.
Yeah. And, for folks like Curt and all of our listeners who are like in the thick of this,
Yeah.
technical writing, documentation, IT,
Yeah, this is relevant.
it's so relevant. We use AI for
Yeah.
research, for writing, for generating code. Like it's everywhere.
It really is.
But, this study is making me think twice
Mm-hmm.
about how I'm using these tools.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest takeaway for me. It's not about rejecting AI, it's about using it thoughtfully, strategically. It's about understanding its limitations and making sure that we're still the ones in control.
Okay, so how do we do that?
Yeah.
Like, give us some practical advice here. What are some ways that we can use AI to actually enhance our critical thinking
Sure.
instead of replacing it?
Well, one thing that comes to mind is using AI for brainstorming. Let's say you're working on this complex technical document, right?
Yeah.
Instead of staring at a blank page,
Right.
you could use an AI tool to generate different outlines, content structures, just get those creative juices flowing.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
It's like having a super-powered brainstorming partner.
Right. That can come up with a million ideas
It's a million.
in seconds.
Yeah.
But then you, the human expert, step in and critically evaluate those ideas.
What about the actual writing process?
Okay.
How can we use AI to improve our writing without becoming, overly reliant on it?
Well, AI can be a fantastic tool for things like grammar and style checking,
Right.
finding synonyms,
Mm.
even generating different phrasing options. But the key is to use it as a guide, not a crutch. We need to be the ones making the final decisions about what sounds best, what conveys our message most effectively.
Yeah, because sometimes those AI suggestions just sound off,
Right.
Like they're grammatically correct, but they lack that human voice.
That human voice, that personality.
That personality, yeah.
And that's something AI is still struggling with. It can mimic human language, but it can't replicate the creativity, the nuance, the emotional intelligence
Yeah.
that we bring to the table.
And I think that's what makes this conversation so important. We need to be aware of both the opportunities and the challenges of AI. And on that note, I want to give a huge shout out to Curt Robbins for suggesting this deep dive.
Yeah,
It's been a fantastic exploration of a topic that's incredibly relevant to all of us in the tech world.
To everyone listening, keep those questions coming. Keep diving deep with us.
We're in this together.
We are.
Until next time, happy diving.
Yeah.